Everybody, it is Renee with Ideal Protein here in Los Gatos, California, and I am super excited today. My guest is Dr. Dolores Zumbado, and she is a chiropractor by trade, but she really got into the Ideal Protein program. She incorporated it into her clinics. And in addition to that, she is now a regional director over 120 clinics for the Ideal corporate structure. So she is going to be talking to us today about a topic that is so important. You can do phase one, you can lose all your weight, you feel like you got it, and then what? So with Ideal Protein, the most wonderful thing about our program is that we have a lifestyle program that is all set out for you. And Dr. Zumbado is going to be talking about that today. And she has a tremendous amount of experience, not only with her own clinics, but just seeing the results of other dieters and how the lifestyle program works for them. So Dr. Zumbado, I want to have you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. I loved your story. I met her at a Ideal Protein conference, a super weekend, and she told her story of how she lost her own weight and just a little bit about how she had to manage that and learn lifestyle changes. And it was a really inspiring story. So, okay, I'll let you tell everyone.
Well, thank you, Renee. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation. I guess I've been in maintenance now for 9 years, going on my 9th year. It's hard to believe. Right. And so what I can say is, some years are better than others, but it is really a battle. I love what you just said right now that, a lot of people go into maintenance thinking, I got it. Recently a friend of mine, I have a new friend, she's a registered dietitian. And here's the analogy she uses. When you go into maintenance, it's kind of like you're in a canoe and the water is nice and calm and you're saying, I got this, and you have no idea that you're heading for Niagara Falls. So maintenance is like that because you can be totally in control and then life happens. You lose your job or death of a loved one, the stress of work. So, maintenance is one of those things, if you don't have a plan for it, you are most likely going to regain the weight.
Yes, absolutely.
So
tell us how you told a really great story about how you got injured and you had a moment.
A moment. Yeah. So for me, I lost 30 pounds in 7 weeks on Ideal Protein 9 years ago. And somewhere after about 4 or 5 years, I got knocked down, hit my head. And of the 30, at the time I had probably picked up about 6-7 pounds. And with the head injury, I regained 15 pounds. So, and I think, geez, that could happen to me. And for 3 years, basically was able to keep the weight off. Fortunately, though, I was able to go back on phase one, and it actually works. It works every time. And that's not, so some people have gastric bypass, and a lot of those folks regain the weight. Sad thing is you can't go back and do it again, at least with Ideal Protein. It will always work every time.
That's such a great point. Before we go on, I want to welcome, I see we have quite a few people already on our broadcast. I want to welcome you. So would you do us a favor and number one, share our broadcast. Number two, give us hearts, whatever you want to send us. And number three, tell us where you're from. And are you a coach or are you a dieter? So I think we have a lot of coaches online, although this is a broadcast that's directed to dieters and, really addressing these things about your how to maintain the regain. I love that title, Dr. Zumbado. So tell us, you have a lot of experience with the lifestyle program. I was very impressed with how you've implemented that into your business. And I know a lot of clinics, have been struggling a little bit with how they implement it. When do you implement it? Do you start right at the beginning talking about it? Is it something that you do at the end? I personally, the minute I meet with someone on their first, appointment with me, I'm talking about how we're not only going to start together, but we're going to know each other really, really well. And we're going to keep going right on through maintenance, even though, ideal protein is temporary, but real life is really where the work starts. So, tell us how you implement it, how you work with your dieters, some stories maybe on the lifestyle program and what a change it's made in our business.
I think one of the things that it's so important, and you touched on it, is that you've got to start talking about the lifestyle change in the beginning. And I'm a little bit behind the scenes with Ideal Protein, and we're going sort of, in the last couple of years, almost revamping. We're not really calling ourselves a weight loss program anymore, because what good is it to lose weight if you're going to regain it? So we're really touching more on being a lifestyle program. And really, there are no lifestyle programs out there. So this is really exciting that we at Ideal Protein have defined our own category, right? It's not that we're in a category with everyone else. We own this category because there is no one else at this time. So I think what I talk about with dieters right from the beginning in the first introductory seminar is to say, listen, if you hear this all the time, 70% of the population is overweight or obese, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So but if you think about that, what that really means is if you just go with the flow in America, if you just do what everybody else does, you're more likely going to be overweight or obese. So and that's our obesogenic world. That's the environment for a lot of reasons that we live in. So in order to be successful in a lifestyle change, you have to create a little microcosm, a little micro environment around you. And one of my invitations to my clinics, this is the name of my company, is Dr. Z's Lifestyle Community, because we have to create a community because we're all in this together. If I can regain the weight, and I do this every day, talk about it, preach about it. I'm like the poster child for weight regain and maintenance. I mean, I struggle with it just like everyone else. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So
all of us.
all of us. And because if you've ever been there, there's that, when you regain the weight, there's this shame that you feel and this self-loathing, and we judge ourselves, we judge each other, and the first thing we start to talk about in our community is you don't know someone's story. If someone's regaining, something could be going on there. So let's support each other and create a non-judgmental environment where we really are supporting each other.
I love the community. I was looking before a couple of days ago when I was putting everything online and letting people know about this event. I went and I saw your community and just that byline and mission statement is such a testament to, this is not about, one thing I always say in my clinic is, this is not a diet mill. We're one-on-one. It's you and me. I'm here to support you. You can text me anytime. If I'm not sleeping, I'm responding to you. Email me, call me. Don't wait until your appointment to address something you need to know right now. And creating that community and having a coach that creates that community is a very important and integral part of the support system that Ideal Protein gives you that I've never seen anywhere else. And trust me, I've done every diet. As I always say, I've been 200 pounds 3 times in my life. It's, I'm on my 15 years of keeping it off, but I know what it feels like. And so, yeah, yeah. So, tell us what you feel. So when we go into the lifestyle program, there is a product called Ideal Complete, and incorporating that into your day-to-day life. Tell us, about that, and what your thoughts are on a meal replacement.
Yes. Well, I want to just from 2 points. The nutritionist in me, my undergrad degree is nutrition. The nutritionist in me says, gee, I would like for my dieters, my patients to eat real foods, whole foods. But what I know is that the reality of that, we're on the run. We really need to have a go-to kind of diet-friendly or lifestyle-friendly meal that we can go to that is high in protein, good quality protein, low calorie, low carb, and low in fat. The Look Ahead study is a study that really says in order to keep the weight off, the people that are successful use meal replacements. The Stop Regain study in the New England Journal of Medicine is another one that talks about the importance of meal replacement. So what I like about the Ideal Complete products are, first of all, the proteins that you get from Ideal Protein. They're pharmaceutical grade, very good quality, and you all know that they taste really very good. It's that same protein that you know and love, but these Ideal Complete meals come with all the necessary vitamins and minerals, while at the same time keeping calories, carbs, and fat low.
And it's a balanced meal. Mm-hmm. So it's providing everything for that meal, which is different than a traditional protein shake you're going to buy in the store.
Well, and different from the regular Ideal Protein foods, because one of the things on phase 1, 2, and 3 is that you have to take supplements because we don't put the vitamins and minerals in the food. And that's why the food tastes good, by the way. Right. Many times when you eat a bar or something where there's vitamins and minerals in it, you're going to have that chalky, metallic-y taste. So so with the Ideal Complete meals, Ideal Protein has developed a process where they can coat the vitamins and minerals so you don't taste them. So they're still delicious. And what I love is, this is the best part, is it's 26 grams of that really good quality protein, pharmaceutical grade. And when you eat that, you are full. If I have that for breakfast, I'm full until 4. So,
wow. All right, cool.
Not that I skip lunch or anything.
No, of course you don't.
Sometimes I do, right?
So I'm going to go through and just kind of like highlight a couple things. There are a couple people out here I want to say hi to. Sandra White, Yakima, Washington. We've got Jessie Castle. She is the director of Ideal Body in LA. I talked to Jessie online. She got our cookbook the other day. From Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, we have a dieter online. Candy, so nice to have you with us. Ask us your questions. That's what we're here for. We have Wendy White Stevens, and she is from Dallas. She's a clinic support manager with Ideal Protein. It's called The Coach's Coach. She's a dieter down 120 pounds and in maintenance for 5 months. Congratulations. I love it. All right, we've got IP Coach D from Candace Kelly and Melissa. She was online with us last week. And actually, Melissa and Dee are going to be doing a show with me next Thursday, and we're going to be talking about holiday tips, and we're even going to be showing some awesome recipes because Dee is the recipe queen. Patricia Russell Lawson, she says weight creeps back on when I get complacent, and it can be fast. So do you want to address a little bit of that?
That's sort of the analogy of being in the canoe with the calm water where everything is fine until it's not fine.
I love that.
Right? So I think what's really important here is we all tend toward complacency, and that's really where your coach comes in, right? This is one of the reasons why, listen, if you overeat ideal protein foods, you won't lose weight. The thing that works in phase one is that you have a plan, you stay connected with your coach, and you make lifestyle a priority. And so, Patricia, what really I think, is what I say to our patients and clients is, you've got to stay connected with us. If I ask you, what's more difficult, losing weight or keeping it off? Everyone always says keeping it off. Yes. So why do you forget your coach in maintenance? You want to stay connected to the community. You want to, get involved with journaling, making lifestyle your priority. I mean, complacency, that's a bugger. That's why having these visits set up with your coach in advance. When you get to the year of stabilization, in other words, phase one, phase two, phase three, and now you're stabilizing your weight, and you're going into the maintenance or phase four phase, go ahead and schedule your 17 visits for that first year. Because if you pre-schedule those appointments, not every day, but maybe once a week for the first month, and every other week for the second month, and then once a month until your anniversary, your coach can call you, and if you miss an appointment, how are you doing? Come back in, let us support you. We all need.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yes, I totally agree with you on that. And my clients, and I think everybody will agree, your clients that number one phase off, and that's going to be the next thing we're going to talk about, because I see a little question coming up here. That the key thing is there's no judgment. We are here to support you. That's why you came to us. So when you get in that moment where you aren't liking what you see on the scale, or you're just not even getting on the scale, things are spiraling in the wrong direction, call us, get in here, talk to us. That's why we're here. So, using that community, I love that term, and your support system. So the next comment is from Melanie Myers Magnuson, and she says, are the phases the key to keeping it off?
Well, the phases certainly are the key, right? In phase one to losing, phase two and phase three, you're starting to reintegrate food. And if you utilize the stabilization, the 12-month stabilization program, then yes, they are the key to keeping it off. What happens in phase two and phase three, we call that pre-stabilization. This is where we begin to incorporate more calories, but very slowly. And this is the hardest part, right? Because once you start to eat more, what's the tendency? It's that you want to continue to eat more. When you start to introduce carbohydrates in the breakfast meal in phase three, that this will throw you out of ketosis. So now the real work begins. So yes, they are key, but I think the most important key the most important phase is the phase four, where you stay connected with the coach for that critical first year. Studies show if you lose a significant amount of weight and you can keep it off for the first year, you increase your odds by like 50% to make it to 5 years.
That's awesome. I love that statistic. Wow. Yeah. Okay, everybody. You got to get to 1 year and then you're halfway home.
You're not totally out of the woods, but you are on the way. And by the way, the weight loss registry, everyone who's kept the weight off for a year, you should register for the weight loss registry. It's this long-going study. And what they say in that registry is those that make it to 10 years, this is back to community, say that the community and creating an environment around yourself that is supportive, that is the number one factor that these 10-year people who've maintained their weight loss for 10 years, that's the one thing they all report as the most important thing.
I totally agree with you. I think that on my own journey, we had a support group the other evening at a clinic, and we were talking about just our emotions, our fears, why things come up, why do we gain weight? And I was thinking, my window is not big anymore. It used to be big. My window is like 4 to 6 pounds now, and that's 15 years later. But it's a constant having to keep track of that, especially as I'm 55 now. I've gotten into menopause and hormones and just, my thyroid and all of those good things that we have to keep track of. So, it's definitely always a journey. It never stops. And I think that that's the key thing to long-term weight maintenance, is knowing that it's okay to have a little reboot every once in a while. It's okay, but really staying 80 to 90% true to what works for you is what really keeps you on a consistent maintenance level. So I have one more thing here. Melissa, I didn't mention, Melissa's from Red Cliff Pharmasave. She's up there in Canada. And Candace Kelly says, Candace and Carrie, Ideal Approaches from LMG Wellness and Weight Loss Center. Love Dr. Z. That's awesome. When Melissa says, congrats, Wendy, 125 for me too. Yeah, Melissa has an amazing story that it's on our, you can look on our, down below our videos here, and Melissa tells her story, which is amazing. And we have Bev Crooks, and she is from Victoria, BC. Thank you for joining us today. Melanie Myers Magnuson says again, thanks, love any tips for helping with the mindset of feeling deprived and being on Ideal for a long time. What do you suggest when a client loses really slowly?
Well, that is a loaded question. One of the keys to Ideal Protein is that it works, and it works rapidly. It is and the studies show that it's going to be a 2 to 3 pound weight loss for women. And I'm assuming that this is a woman, because men lose fast.
Yes, they do.
But if I have a woman that's losing not less than 2 pounds a week, something is going on here. It is a physiologic impossibility to do this protocol exactly right and not lose weight. So, what I do with someone like this is, we have a meeting. I say just that, and I say it with certainty. And then I say, so let's figure out what's going on with you. And then we're going to take a very close look at what she or he is doing. And there are several things. I've done a lot of training in the cognitive approach to weight loss. One of the things that I've learned from Dr. Judith Beck, who is just, she's the master at, how to think. So I encourage all of you to check out her book. She talks about sabotaging thoughts. She talks about how to talk to yourself, how to encourage yourself. Yep, that's the book.
I have it right beside me.
I've done a couple of trainings with them. I'm a diet coach, not a therapist, so I don't pretend to be in that arena with her, but she's just amazing. So, there are things that people can do that way. But one of the things I learned from her, and I did it myself, is that, people always underestimate how much really they're eating. They're not pouring, they're not measuring right. If they're going slow, there is always a reason for that. And I encourage you to sit down with them and make a plan for the week and say, all right, when you get up at 8 o'clock, are you hungry? What is your satiety level at that time? I'm starving. Right? When you eat, how do you feel afterwards? Well, I'm good until about 10 o'clock, and then I get really hungry again. And so then what I do is I'll figure out, all right, 8 o'clock, you're going to eat this. 10 o'clock, you're going to drink the BCAAs, maybe the branched chain amino acids. You're also going to drink a hot tea at that time. And at noon, you're going to because I had a woman recently just was not losing, and she was eating 5 cucumbers a day, because on the protocol it says 5 cucumbers. It's unlimited, right?
Yeah.
Well, each cucumber is like 4 to 5 carbs, depending on the size of it. So if you're having 5 of those a day, that's too many carbs for most women. So I said, why are you eating so many cucumbers? She says, because I'm hungry. Well, I don't know if she's truly hungry or if this is a craving, but the reality is hunger comes and goes. I said to her, here's a newsflash. Just because you're hungry doesn't mean you need to eat. I do it all the time. So I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to eat at 8 o'clock. And when you get hungry at 10 o'clock, I want you to drink of water. I want you to have the branched chain amino acids and some hot tea. And if you still feel you need to eat, I want you to call me or text me after that time. And you know what? She never called or texted. She made it to lunch. And what she then said to me later was, you know what? I knew that I was eating at 12, and I just kept telling myself, I'll just drink water until 12. And she made it through. And then she began, by planning her whole week, she began to realize that she could pace herself and make herself get to the next level. Well, this woman went from 1 to 1.5 pounds a week of weight loss to 3.5 pounds a week of weight loss, and got it done. So I think this is where the coaching comes in. And I don't want to say, sometimes there may be a metabolic condition or constipation or menstruation that slows someone down for a period of time. But I encourage any diet or any coach who has a client or a patient who's losing slowly to reach out to me or to your consultant and get on a 3-way call with. And I do this a lot of times. If there's a dieter that's going slow, the coach will call me. We set up a 3-way call, and the coach gets to listen to me talk to the client or the patient.
Wow, that's so. That's such a great learning tool, and thank you for offering that, because I'm sure that there's a lot of us that could, use your advice, and at some point we'll have you come on and we'll just do just kind of like a coaches forum, which is done privately.
Right.
But okay, so let's thanks for that was a great response. I love that. So let me get back here to my questions. Let's see here. I was on Melanie. Okay, so Candy says, I'm down 119 pounds since February, have 40 more to go, and I want to be ready and keep it off. And Candy, you can. The key is keep in touch with your coach. Do not disconnect from that. I always know when one of my clients gets to their goal weight and they go, this is so awesome, and they don't show up, they don't phase out, all of a sudden they're gone, and I can tell you in 6 months they're back. So instead of doing that, stay in contact with your coach. My dieters that tell me I'm really scared to phase out, I'm like, good, I want you to be scared. I want you to be successful. And my clients that are scared are super successful because they listen and they come in and they do what they're supposed to do. Okay, so Melissa says, just keep it up. It will come. Don't cheat and keep your eye on the goal. That's some good advice for Candy there. And one more, and think of all the lovely things that you do get to do. So that is amazing.
No, I think
Let's see. Patricia says, can you type book in posts, please? Oh, yes, we definitely, it's the Beck Diet Solution, and I will definitely, they have a great blog also, and I love their inspiration. They do a daily inspiration. So sometimes I share that with my private Facebook group for my clients. And so, yes, we'll definitely share the link to the Beck Diet Solution. Let's see. Melanie Myers Magnuson asks again, what is the benefit of the BCAA? I've never used these and not been given info on them. Would you please talk about that?
Okay, so this you want to get from your coach. If you are a coach, you just go to the client library on the OS system. The benefit of branched chain amino acids is that they help to maintain or minimize the amount of muscle that you lose. The branched chain amino acids bypass the liver where they would normally be conjugated. So it's a wonderful support tool for the muscle mass. And muscle's the engine that burns. Maintaining muscle is key in maintenance. So one of the key things with any weight loss program is minimize the amount of muscle that you lose. Some other side benefits, for instance, in the situation with this woman that I was just speaking about, you mix the branched chain amino acids with water and it actually tastes pretty good and it's kind of sweet. So
it does. It tastes like fruit punch.
It does. So it gives you instant. So if you've got someone like that, and this happened to me, I don't know, I was very rarely hungry when I did phase 1, but somehow I found at 10 o'clock in the morning is when I would get hungry, and it wasn't time for lunch yet. So I would drink water or tea, but the nice thing with the branched chain amino acids is that they taste good and they are supportive to your muscles. So I highly recommend. This is a new product. It's been out 2 years or so. So it's a wonderful product.
Yeah, I honestly, because I work out pretty much 4 to 5 days a week, I basically just, if you're training hard, you want to be taking them about 30 minutes before your workout. But if you're in phase 1, I will sip them. Again, I think they're a little too sweet for 8 ounces of water, so I drink them in more than 8 ounces of water, which I think is perfectly fine. I definitely, at my age, I don't want to lose any muscle, and I need the support for the muscle. Okay, Dr. Zumbado, are you on a limited time frame? Are you good? Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. So, all right. So let's get to our next question. I wanted to please go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, share and like our video, send us questions, tell us where you're from. I see there's quite a few people online right now, which is awesome. So the next thing that I'm going to ask Dr. Zumbado is, we talked about the coaching appointments and why they're necessary in lifestyle. I think we covered that. What role does exercise have in managing the regain? And this is a great question.
This is one of the most important things that we can do. Early on, I think with Ideal Protein, my criticism was not really a criticism. I think it was more of a result. I found that a lot of people who did Ideal Protein and lost weight successfully sort of got lulled into a false sense of security. They weren't really exercising, right? So they lost the weight. So a lot of people kind of went into maintenance thinking, well, this is great. I didn't even have to exercise. And while exercise is not necessarily a good way to lose weight, it is the best way to maintain a healthy weight. So exercise is paramount. However, I do want to say that 1 hour of exercise at the gym does not make up for 8 to 10 hours of sitting during the day. For a long time now with my patients and clients, I've been talking to them about NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And what is NEAT? NEAT is the amount of movement that you do consistently throughout the day. So it's standing instead of sitting, it's walking, it's having an app, and activity tracker and making sure that you're getting 10,000 steps a day. The thing to think about is back in the early 1900s, when less than 4% of the population was obese, it was considered dangerous to exercise. But they didn't exercise, but they did move around all day long, right? They were walking to work, they were taking stairs, not escalators and elevators. We weren't on cell phones, we weren't at computers. So what I feel like in maintenance, the 2 most important things are NEAT, standing, moving, and also exercising, especially muscle building activities, cardio, and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. It's important that we do muscle building exercise. So body weight exercise where you don't need to be lifting weights. You don't need to be going to the gym and, pressing 100 pounds on the leg machine. All you need to be doing is, squats and lunges and small hand weights, planks and things that you could do in yoga class, Pilates class, go to body pump class. It's simple stuff that maintains the integrity and the tone of the muscles and helps you over time to increase your metabolic rate. The key thing is, and you know, I talk to this to my trainer all the time about this. We also do some live at the gym, and we talk about the fact that, you know, your fork, you can't out-train your fork. So make sure that you understand that exercise is really 20% of the equation, and 80% is what's we're doing over here, right?
Yeah, but the
Okay.
really, that's key. You've got to work that in maintenance.
So just a couple more things here. We have Karen Belt says thank you. Let's see. Kelly says some really great information. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We're going to wrap up our broadcast with one last question. And that is, this is a really kind of a big subject. How often do you recommend doing a tune-up?
When you need it.
I love that.
You know,
so when do you decide? Like when do you?
Well, when you decide. Well, so let's go back to that first year. What we find is that the first year keeping the weight off, most people, and this is not a study, but we find that most people somewhere between month 6 and month 8 need to do a tune-up. Why is that? Because you're learning how to maintain. Way to think about this is phase 1 is practice for lifestyle, right? So you're practicing certain how to make salads, how to cook foods, how to enforce discipline, how to discipline yourself. When we get to maintenance, you know, it's harder to do that. So by month 6 or 8, you may need to do a tune-up. But here's the reality of it. According to the weight management registry, maintenance gets easier with time. That's another reason why we want to really get good at this whole maintenance piece. That's why for you it's getting easier, right? For me, it is easier. Not easy, but easier. I find that most people, if you're needing to do a tune-up twice a year, there's probably something going on. You're not balancing, and you need to get with your coach and say, all right, help me to stabilize, right? Most people can go do a tune-up maybe once a year or every 2 years. That really should be all you have to do. If you need more than that, and I have a lot of people that come in and they get stuck in some kind of quasi-phase 3 thing where they're using the foods during the day and they're eating and drinking at night, and this is really not a healthy way to eat. The idea is let's get back to whole food. Use a meal prep for 1 meal, exercise, and do the tune-up once a year. If you do that, you should be able to go once a year or once every 2 years.
Right. So I think that you touched on just something that I would love for you just to do, you know, talk quickly. I know this is a long broadcast, but phase 4 is whole foods. We want you to eat real food. We don't want you to be eating fake food.
Yeah. We need that. I mean, one meal replacement is okay, but if you're eating 2 or 3 a day, and you're skipping meals, you're not getting enough nutrients. So it's not just about protein. You've got to also have nutrition in your food.
That's right. So a couple more comments. Grace says, thanks for the motivation. Melissa says, set your trigger. Do phase 1 anytime you hit it, no matter what. So, you know, we'll definitely, you know, talk more about that in a future broadcast. Bev Crooks says, thank you. So is there any other items, tidbits that you'd like to leave us with before we sign off the broadcast?
Tidbits, I don't know about tidbits. I mean, I just really encourage us to really stay connected. Please share the information. You know, we can all learn from each other. There are, you know, so many times dieters come in and they've got great tips or something that they've done or an aha. For those of you that are coaches, please consider making your clinic a community. We have a walking program that we do. We do seminars on different topics. Encourage those kinds of activities and share it. Bring people to the program. Create your micro environment.
I love it. Yes, super important. And thank you, Dr. Zumbado, for being with us here today. This broadcast will be live, or actually you can play it back after the live broadcast, and then we also upload it to our YouTube channel. We'll put those links in the comments section, and of course, continue sharing this offline with people that you know will benefit from it. We appreciate you being here today. Our next broadcast is next Thursday with Melissa and Dee, and we look forward to seeing everybody. And thank you, Dr. Zumbado, for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Bye. See you later.
Bye. Bye.